On this week's episode, a first impression of Star Wars' new show, Andor. Behind-the-scenes shots of the new Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds movie. Ana de Armas opens up about bearing it all. And where was Matt Damon recently spotted in the Boston area? For the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. Matt Damon.
Matt
He's everywhere,
Damon.
Matt.
Where was he? Jamie, it is officially fall. I think like overnight the temperature dropped. It felt like 30 degrees. How are you surviving so far?
How am I surviving? I'm loving it.
Are you?
I am diving in. I'm running outside. Like just, what is it? Gone with the Wind?
Yeah.
Where, they're running through the fields in a circle, or is it The Sound of Music? No, it's The Sound of Music. The hills are alive with the sound of fall. I'm so excited for the weather to be changing. So, James, I'm here for it, James. I'm here for the coolness.
I made the mistake of leaving my window cracked, and it didn't take long for like the whole house to get below freezing. So it's a quick lesson. I'm going to be removing the air conditioner soon and putting it away to storage until it's back out next year. But it is the fall. I do love the fall season, and it's a great movie watching weather.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best time of year to snuggle up with that special person on the couch and get cozy and watch your favorite things. And
while eating cider donuts.
Oh, yeah. Everything pumpkin, everything cider. And then, and watching a great romance, James, which is one of the things we're going to be talking about later. But we've got some really great entertainment headlines that we've got to talk about right now.
Absolutely. Speaking about things we love and the people we love, Matt Damon. Right. Who doesn't love Matt Damon, right?
Matt Damon.
Well,
Matt Damon.
The local Cambridge boy, Boston-area boy and native Matt Damon was spotted at a local CVS. I guess he was shopping just north of Boston, and he was found by a group of fans who took this awesome selfie with him, everyone looking happy. Let me ask you, which aisle do you think they found Matt Damon in?
Matt Damon?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. I think they found him in let's see.
Where do you if you were to run into him, which aisle would you be like least surprised to find him in?
Wherever there's coffee and donuts, I don't know. What aisle was he in?
I was throwing you off. He was found in the shampoo aisle.
Oh, yeah.
He's
got that beautiful coif to maintain. Listen, that's what he works with, people. He's got to maintain it.
Celebrities, they're just like us. They wash their hair with shampoo.
Amazing.
Now, let's go to Ana de Armas. She's talking about the fallout of going nude in Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe biopic that's coming out. And so she spoke to a magazine recently where she said that she hates the idea that the nude scenes of her Marilyn Monroe will be taken out of context and circulated on the internet, and that also there's nothing she can really do about it. Blonde, rated NC-17, and is apparently full of sexual scenes and nudity. She says that she knows that the nude scenes are going to go viral, and it's disgusting, saying that, she's done things for the movie that she would never do in real life, but she did it for Marilyn Monroe, and she did it for the director. It's an interesting kind of situation she's found herself in. What are your thoughts on the idea that people will take the nude scenes out of context, out of the movie, and not appreciate it in its role in the movie?
Right, for its artistic value and its storytelling, and it's just really unfortunate. It's an unfortunate byproduct of what it is. I mean, that's what people do, unfortunately, James, and that's the risk I think any actress takes when they, literally expose themselves. People don't appreciate the art. They're just there for the porn of it, and that's kind of what the internet is built on.
Yeah, and she acknowledges that. There's like nothing she can do about it.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's like it's just tough because what do you do, James? What do you do? You're an actor. How do you process that? You've created this content to be, true to your art, to be true to the storytelling aspect, and how do you process the fact that it is misused? That's a really tough one. What would you do in that situation, James, after you've just exposed yourself to the world in whatever biopic?
Well, yeah, I think it is. It can be different for I don't know, for different people how they view it. For me, I think I would also take that into consideration, knowing that my image can be shared anywhere. My grandmother could see it, people I know, and of course strangers out there as well, and they'll do what they will. So that is something that you have to consider. Something I would consider taking a role as such. Unlike Ana de Armas, I'm not that confident in myself, and so that is something that I would be very unlikely to do. And so I'm wishing her the best. Hopefully, after the movie comes out, people will talk about her acting and talk about the impact of her performance. And so hopefully, this works out for her.
You know what I think, James, too, is I think that a lot of movies, especially in the 90s and 2000s, whatever, there was this push towards like the gratuitous scenes and the gratuitous sex scenes and stuff like that. And I don't, even with TV shows like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, like I get it. It's like, ooh, it's titillating to watch, right? But I don't think that it necessarily always brings value to the story. And so I just hope that when creators are telling a story, that they are judicious in what brings value to the story. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, there are tons of like movies from the 70s that, the movies back then, they just included nude scenes to get people into the movie theater. And were not necessarily needed for certain scenes or for roles. But yeah, hopefully Ana de Armas, she gets rave reviews for her performance as Marilyn.
Because she is amazing.
Now, one thing that may not have been amazing about her life or in her life was dating Ben Affleck. I don't know how the relationship between them went exactly, but she did talk about how the attention that she garnered from dating Ben Affleck, she says that it was unsafe and dangerous attention. She recently told Variety that she's never been someone that wants any attention that's not about her work. So when the attention is not about her work, it's upsetting and it feels disrespectful, adding that it feels inappropriate and dangerous and unsafe. Again, somebody who doesn't mind the recognition for hard work, taking a role in a movie or in any project. But when that attention is turned to look at your relationship, and then you have all these gossipers and rumors and paparazzi going around and following you around, I could differentiate the different type of attention.
Yeah, it's all the unfortunate side effects of fame.
And dating Ben Affleck.
And dating Ben Affleck in particular, who was hanging out with Matt Damon in CVS with those fans. Man, anytime I hear Matt Damon's name, it's always Team America World Police Matt Damon.
That's what I picture every time. Now, let me ask you, do you think that maybe there are people saying, well, boo-hoo, this is what you expect dating Ben Affleck? You have to understand that comes with a price of attention.
It shouldn't.
It's like dating Leonardo DiCaprio. There's going to be some drama. People are going to pay attention to that, right?
You know what? But it shouldn't, okay? People need to behave better, and this is my official scolding of them. Y'all need to get right. You need to behave better and let these people live because they are human beings like everyone else. Like poor Tom and Zendaya. Yeah. Tom and Zendaya's relationship was exposed because a paparazzi was taking pictures of their private moments, making out in a car. Maybe don't make out in the car, but I guess you have some kind of reasonable expectation of privacy in a car. But, those are your private moments, and that, it's dehumanizing. It's really dehumanizing, and it messes with your head. So, listen, people, we can do better, okay? With social media and all of that, we've gotten closer and closer to our celebrities, and we can see that they are just normal human beings. So let them have a life. Be respectful. Let them eat at the restaurant. Let them make out in their car.
Let them have their Dunkin' coffee.
Let them have their Dunkin' coffee and their Ben Afflecks, okay? Just chill out. Take a chill pill but the problem is too, it's that financial gain that the paparazzis get. Course. That financial incentive. So it's tough. It's tough. Like maybe not Ben Affleck next time, but it shouldn't be that way, but it is. So I'm sorry you had to go through all of that. And if you ever need a friend, your old body double is here to provide hugs with my famous hands.
Well, speaking about doubles, somebody who no one could double is for the voice of James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader. After 45 years of voicing one of the most iconic voices in cinema history, Jones says he is retiring and he's officially signed his voice rights to Lucasfilm.
Okay, I didn't know that you could sign your voice rights over.
Yeah, this is basically like The Little Mermaid, where Ariel gives her voice in order to to receive the gift of happiness.
Right, and George Lucas is Ursula, the octopus, monster.
No, it's not George Lucas anymore. It's Disney. They hold the reins.
That's true. Oh, yeah. Well, that makes even more sense.
Yeah,
yes.
But now with James Earl Jones signing off his rights, that means that sound editors will now use archival recordings and artificial intelligence to create new dialogue with his iconic voice. He has given Lucasfilm his blessing to continue using his voice in future projects, even after his passing. Let me ask you, how do you feel about that, knowing that not only James Earl Jones, but other famous actors, after their passing, they can, or I guess beforehand, give their rights of their likeness, of their voice, so there could be new movies and characters created with their likeness. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess, the voice I get, and the voice can be digitally created in a way that it doesn't really change things, and you can't really notice as much. It's the image part when you're like digitally recreating dead people's images, like in a computer animated way.
Yeah.
That where it gets kind of creepy and cringy, and I'm not so sure how I feel about that. But I get the life right. I mean, I get the voice rights. I get that makes sense to me, definitely. And now that you mentioned the whole Ariel comparison, when she's giving up her voice and she's going, now just imagine Darth Vader doing that.
Instead of saying, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it happened just like that.
Exactly like
Lucasfilm.
that. It's wonderful.
Well, speaking about things that were not like that because they were changed and reworked, is the original script for Avatar 2. Apparently, James Cameron, after a year of working on the script, he nixed it completely. He changed the script. He wasn't happy with what was the original sequel for the original movie that came out 13 years prior. So this means after committing a whole year to the script and not liking it and throwing it in the trash can, instead of 13 years after the original movie, we could have seen the sequel last year because of that time delay.
When it comes to James Cameron, what's another year?
I guess so.
What's another year?
Yeah.
But would it really have made a difference if it was 12 years versus 13? It's still a whole generation.
Maybe
it's
he
a whole
foresaw.
Generation of people.
Yeah, maybe he foresaw COVID, and he knew the theaters would not be packed. No one would be going there, so he wanted to wait an extra year when people could,
I don't know about
go back.
that much.
Maybe, I don't know.
But that does happen. It happens a lot. It happens a lot more frequently than we really realize. But it also kind of takes guts to do that, and it takes money, and it takes the confidence of the theater or the production house behind you in order to allow you to do that. I feel like maybe James Cameron is one of the only people, the few only people that can get away with that, because that is a huge financial investment that gets thrown out the window, and then you have to start again and continue to pay these people for that amount of time. So that's actually, it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing that they did that. So, but to have that kind of freedom to completely scrap it and start over again, I respect that, James, because I'm all about the story, and I'm here for only stories that are worth telling. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Throw it out. That's when you get to be like a pure creative. You get to be a pure creative.
The other thing that James Cameron is able to do is re-release films, apparently. That's because Avatar, the first movie, has been released with a remastered version. And he says, for the viewers who were not old enough to see the movie in theaters because they either did not exist or they were way too young, and they saw the first movie at home. He says if that's the case, then you haven't seen Avatar. You haven't really seen it until you've seen it in the big screen. And he believes that because he took his daughters to go see the remastered version, and he said he was amazed and struck by their sense of wonder after seeing it. And so I think that's, again, he is trying to amp up and get people excited to go back to the movie theater to see the first one, to get themselves refamiliarized with the lore before going to see Avatar 2. What are your thoughts? People seeing it at home for the first time. I think there is some truth to that.
Yeah, there's definitely truth. I mean, Avatar is made literally for the big screen. He's the one that reintroduced like 3D filming and all of that. It is made to be an experience, right? But also, it's kind of a necessity for it to be re-released because it's been 13 years and an entire generation hasn't seen this movie, and anyone who saw the last one doesn't remember it. So it's a necessity, it's a money grab, and it's also, yes, it needs to be experienced in that way. So all of these things coexist at the same time, for sure. But know what else is going to be a great cinematic experience that I cannot wait for, and who you definitely need to see on the big screen?
Tell me.
Me and my son, who
that's right.
we got to do background work on the movie Spirited, which now has a release date. This is the Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell Christmas musical, Scrooged recreation of that classic tale,
A Christmas Carol.
Of A Christmas Carol, which was made into Scrooge, which has now been made into this movie, Spirited. So it's going to be released in theaters on November 11th, and then shortly thereafter, it is going to be released on Apple Plus on TV in your home on November 18th, just 1 week later. So this is creating a little bit of a hubbub. You get that?
Yeah, I get it.
A little bit of a bah humbug. So theaters don't like this, James. This is another chapter of streaming wars. Theaters don't like it when they have this quick turnaround or a simultaneous streaming release. So it may be that Spirited, which was filmed in and around Boston, downtown Boston, South Shore Plaza, various locations around here, we're all very excited for it. It may be that it won't get the big theatrical release that most of these kinds of movies get, especially with these big names. So what do you think about that? Because I can see why the theaters don't like it.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking about the confidence level. Is Apple TV confident that it will be a smash hit? Because if they think it was, kind of like Top Gun, where it was extended its runtime in theaters weeks and months, and I think it's still playing in theaters right now. Tom Cruise and the producers, they fought against releasing it on Paramount Plus or releasing it, so quickly after its release in theatrics because they were confident that it would be very popular, that it was a great movie, and people would pay, thus leading to more money, more revenue. How much confidence does Apple TV have in this movie just saying, you know what, maybe it's not going to be a smash hit, and so we'll release it in theaters, and then we'll just catch everybody on Apple TV, on the streaming services. Did that cross your mind?
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be amazing. I think
I hope.
They just want the simultaneous money grab, and I think Apple Plus paid a lot of money for this. So I think that they're probably using the theatrical part, the theatrical release, to lure people in and lure them in quickly because people have short attention spans, James. So you're like, oh, what a great movie. Oh, I can't make it into the theater. Oh, but I can see it in a couple of days. I mean, that seems like a pretty decent turnaround for a streaming service like Apple Plus. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. And this is going to be such a fun movie. Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, dancing, singing, working their asses off to create this really, really, really cool movie. So I'm really excited for this one.
And we have behind-the-scenes photos. They released these behind-the-scenes shots, one of them which we have posted on our Twitter, which you can find at Hub on Hollywood. We're also on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, at Hub on Hollywood. But in one of the photos, we see a laughing Will Ferrell getting his hair straightened up and fixed in between shots. The next photo we have is of Ryan Reynolds, and he is dancing, practicing his dancing moves in a dance studio. Looks like he's having a good time. Another photo shows Ryan hugging a concerned-looking Will Ferrell dressed up in their full attire. And then we have one shot of Octavia Spencer wearing some adorable reindeer antlers.
Yes. So Ryan Reynolds plays Scrooge in this. Will Ferrell is, I guess, one of the spirits. One of the, I'm not sure which one. But so one other point, James. These pictures look amazing. It's going to be so funny. It's going to be so fun. One other point I wanted to make that why I feel like this kind of release works better is that when you go theater and quickly to the streaming service, it requires less promotion than with a typical, full theatrical release, which is kind of obvious here because we're a little over a month out and we still do not have a trailer for this.
Yeah.
They are saving a lot of money on promotions, but they've got those big name people. People are going to go see it anyway. People are definitely going to go see this anyway, and they're going to watch it anyway. So, it's a unique strategy. It's definitely a post-2020 kind of movie strategy that we're seeing a lot more of. But once again, those are really awesome pictures, and stick with the Hub on Hollywood because once this movie is released, I can then share my behind-the-scenes pictures.
Yeah, we're getting all the dirt and how much of a jerk Will Ferrell is, right?
No! Oh my God, he was just the sweetest of sweethearts. He's like one of the hardest working actors you will ever meet, and such a sweetheart. I can't say any more, but yeah, this movie is spirited. Out in theaters November 11th, streaming Apple Plus November 18th. You don't want to miss this one.
All right, well, stick with us. Can't wait to hear what your thoughts out there listening, watching on Spirited. Be sure to follow us on Facebook. Like I said, we're on all the social media platforms. If you are watching us on YouTube, please hit subscribe. Please hit like. Give us a follow. Comment down below. And if you are listening to us on any of the major podcasting streaming services, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a great review, 5-star review, and thanks for the follow. All right, now let's get into more Star Wars content. We can never get enough Star Wars news. I have a quick non-spoiler review of Andor, the return of Cassian Andor, played by Diego Luna. First 3 episodes are out. I saw episode 1. I'm liking what I'm seeing, Jamie. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Not only am I liking the characters and the story and the development so far, this is a prequel to Rogue One in an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue. Cassian Andor embarks on a path that is destined to turn into a rebel hero. Are you interested in the series, Jamie? I'm
interested in anything Star Wars and anything related to Rogue One as well, because I feel like that was the greatest standalone Star Wars movie ever made.
Yes.
And I say that because, spoiler alert, they weren't afraid to kill everyone at the end. And it made their sacrifice that much more worthy and impactful and powerful. And just the acting was on point. Everything about it was on point. So I'm really excited to see these actors again and see the evolution of these characters. They are some of the most relatable in the Star Wars universe. I'm curious because we did see a little bit of Cassian Andor's evolution in the Rogue One movie itself, from criminal to
rebel leader.
So I'm wondering what more is it that we're actually going to see.
So I do like in the first episode, as we saw in Rogue One, it shows that there are good guys and bad guys on every side, including the Empire, including in the rebels, and people aren't always necessarily, quote unquote, a good or a bad person. They're mixed, they're nuanced, and we do see this in both in Rogue One and in the first episode. Diego Luna, he's not afraid of killing people in order to keep his secrets, to keep undercover when he is infiltrating Empire bases and ports where he's not supposed to be. And so it shows that, people do dirty work in order to fight for what they believe in. And in his case, he believes in dismantling the Empire, and he's willing to do and sacrifice whatever it takes to accomplish that mission. He lives in this gray area. He definitely is on the good side because he wants to free people from the tyranny, quote unquote, the good side of, free people from the tyranny of the Empire. And so I do like that they are showing more of this world, showing more of his character and his motives and motivations and why he's willing to risk everything. And you mentioned about how you enjoyed how these characters seem very real and down to earth. And that's directly because of Tony Gilroy, the creator of Rogue One and also the Andor series. He noticed that his team that he was working with, the writers, the actors, everybody on set, he said their behavior changed because a lot of them had nostalgia for Star Wars, and it had this effect on the performances. And he told them, you got to put your love for Star Wars and what you envision of Star Wars aside, because he wants them to be real. He wants them to be real characters that people can relate to. Not everyone can relate to a Jedi who can have all these amazing powers, or droids, or Wookiees, but they can relate to the people who are, on the ground level and seeing everything from the downward position looking upward.
Right, and that moral ambiguity while, not having those magical powers. I can't move things with my mind.
These are normal people, like you and me.
These are normal people who are at the mercy of everything that is happening in this Star Wars universe. So I just love the texture of that. Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Excellent. Well, let us know what your thoughts are. Again, I've only seen episode 1, no spoilers for this review. I can't wait to hop on for 2 and 3. Let us know what you're looking forward to. What do you predict? How much do you love Diego Luna? He's incredible. I'm already. I can't wait.
Are you swooning?
I'm swooning. I'm swun. I'm all over the place.
I love it. Okay. And speaking of love, James, we were just started off this episode talking about, snuggling up on the couch in the fall with that person that you love, or if they can't stand romance, just by yourself with like a bag of chocolate. I found something, James, that I'm totally binging right now, and every free second that I get, I have to watch. It's on Netflix, and it's a Chinese drama. So I've watched a lot of Japanese drama. I've watched a lot of Korean drama. This is the first real Chinese drama that I'm getting into. It's called Love Between Fairy and Devil. So it's not as, a smooth title in English, I guess. But starring Dylan Wang, Yu Shixin. It's very high fantasy. Super high fantasy. We're in a spiritual realm. There are 3 spiritual realms. And it's the story of a low-level fairy who's also an orchid, who takes care of the books of destiny, takes care of these destiny books, and accidentally releases this dark devil that's been locked up for 30,000 years. And
this sounds like every typical love story, Jamie.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Shut up. Let me get through this. And don't judge it yet.
I'm
Not
kidding.
yet. Hang on. And then she releases this devil by accident, but through this ancient magic that she doesn't know that she has because she's a secret goddess, but doesn't know who she is yet. She binds the devil to her, and they're intrinsically bound together. If she gets injured, he gets injured, and he can feel her emotions. And so this evil character who has no feelings and doesn't care about killing anyone, he's the moon supreme. He's the supreme moon leader or whatever. Learns to love and learns to feel with so it's the dark, brooding one and the really light, bubbly, giggly one. And they hit every major romance trope out there, okay? There's body swapping. There's Death and the Maiden, the dark one and the bubbly one. And then there's, they save each other. It's every imaginable trope out there. They cram into the show, and I am loving it. There's an expression in Japan. I could eat 3 bowls of rice by watching this because it is so sweet and it's just so, binge-worthy. James, how much sappy romance can you tolerate?
I think I have a high tolerance for sappy romance. There are I love rom-coms. If it's a good, solid rom-com, I'm there for it. I support it.
What about high fantasy, though?
High fantasy. I'm trying to think of other high fantasy love movies. Is The Matrix a high fantasy love movie between Neo and what's her name? I don't know. I can't think of any other. Do you have one somewhat at the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I mean, I guess wouldn't Lord of the Rings kind of count? That's high fantasy.
Oh, high fantasy. I love high fantasy. I'm not sure if there's a love, and high fantasy project or movie.
There are, but it's mostly like Asian dramas and stuff. So
okay.
I don't think that Western media does it as much, but it's definitely something that I really love. I think that there are silly parts to this show, but that the core story of the relationship between the two characters, between the devil and the fairy, it is so good. It is so good, and I want more definite Reylo vibes. So if you're a fan of Kylo Ren and Rey, the dark one and the light one together, like, this is a nice slow burn. The relationship, I think, develops in a really good way, like ups and downs and highs and lows, and not like a very unrealistic, like, oh, I felt your feelings and now I'm totally in love with you immediately. Like, no, it's a very delicious slow burn.
Ooh.
So if you don't mind reading subtitles, I recommend it.
It is getting really good reviews. Apparently, 86% of Google users, which is like the entire world, they like the TV show. IMDb giving it an 8.6 out of 10. It is on Netflix. And how many episodes do you know?
There are 36 episodes.
36 episodes. Oh, goodness.
36. Yeah, I mean, they work so hard. Their seasons over there are just so much longer.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible amount of content. So there's plenty there to chew on and enjoy. And one last thing I wanted to say, the main actor who plays the devil, his name is Dylan Wang, or Wang Hee-di. He's a Chinese actor and a basketball player. He's only 23 years old, and he carries this show so well. And I just wanted to give him big props because he's an incredible actor.
Let us know what you think. If you are also hooked, if you are in love with this new series, also, what are your thoughts on Andor? Leave a review. And, if you have any thoughts on any of the other entertainment stories we had on this week's episode, including spotting, do you have your own Matt Damon encounter in the wild experience you want to share with us?
Encounter in the wilds of Boston.
Let us know.
At Dunkin' Donuts, yeah.
Yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on Ana de Armas's quarrel involving her role as Marilyn Monroe, her dating Ben Affleck. Apparently, that's a hot topic discussion as well, too. Yeah, let us know what you think. Follow us at Hub on Hollywood on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, we're also on every major podcasting streaming service, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, also on the YouTube. Give us some likes, give us some shares, and show us some love as we show you.
Oh, we had to give a shout out to Rob Hakala, who we had tweeted out about who should play the next James Bond, and he was saying that he wasn't sure who should play the next James Bond, but that his favorites were our last iteration, Daniel Craig and Sean Connery. So thank you, Rob, for joining the conversation. You are amazing as always. And if you would like to be in the next movie with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell and all of the other incredible people who are coming to Boston and New England to film here, stick with us at the end of this show and we will help you get cast in the next movie or TV show.
Excellent. Well, until then, for the Hub on Hollywood, I'm James.
I'm Jamie. See you then.
Bye.
All right, thanks for sticking around. If you want to be a part of the entertainment industry in New England, we've got some casting calls here for you. So many incredible projects that are working here right now, and they need lots of people of all shapes and sizes. So I'm going to kick it off with Billy Dowd Casting. He is looking for stand-ins, men and women, for stand-in work for an AMC theater. An AMC series called Invitation to a Bonfire. This is well-paid work. Stand-ins, they stand in for the main actor, help the director and the cinematographers, block the cameras and whatnot. They work every single day that actor works, a stand-in works. So this is who they are looking for. Let's see, for Caucasian stand-ins, they're looking for a woman 5'3", 115 pounds, sizes 2 to 4, dark hair for a character called Vera. They're looking for a character who's 5'9", 120 pounds, size 4, with light auburn hair. They're looking for a character who's 5'4", 140 pounds, size 4 to 6, light brown hair. A 5'7" woman, 130 pounds, size 4 to 6, dark hair, and a man who's 6'1", 190 pounds, jacket size 42L with brown hair. They're also looking for 2 African-American stand-ins. They're looking for a stand-in for Hilda, who's African-American, 5'4", 165 pounds, size 8 to 10, and for a man, 5'7", 170 pounds, jacket size 40S, who is bald. If any of those sound like you or a person that you know who would love this opportunity, it's a lot of work, it's good money. Filming is in Randolph, Massachusetts. You're going to want to reach out to itabcastingsubmission@gmail.com. All of the sizes are important, so be sure to include all of your sizes in that submission. So that's itabcastingsubmission@gmail.com.
All right, Slate casting extras for an upcoming grocery store commercial. This is a non-union gig that pays $250 for 10 hours for a 10-hour shift. They're looking for both men and women between 18 and 70 years old. This shoots overnight Thursday on September 29th in Pembroke. This means it will start on Thursday evening and shooting will end Friday morning. You must also be available for a COVID test on the 27th in Alston between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. You must be local to New England and vaccinated in order to submit. So if you are interested and fully available, email slatecastingextras@gmail.com with your name, phone number, email, city where you live. Confirm that you are available for the COVID test and a headshot, current close-up, and current full-length photo of yourself, as well as a confirmation that you are vaccinated. Send all that to slatecastingextras@gmail.com. Put overnight extras in the subject line.
That's awesome. Overnight shoots are awesome, James. You get good money, and you can work around a real day job, too. You'll be a little tired, but, it works.
And actually, let me add on, because they're also looking for for the same project. Looks like also African American men for overnight non-union work. Send all that information again to slatecastingextras@gmail.com.
Awesome. So Boston Casting is working on a number of really great projects right now. There's one called The Collaboration, starring Paul Bettany. We've got an Untitled Novelist project. And Julia, season 2 of Julia, all filming, all being casted, background by Boston Casting. So you will want to go to bostoncasting.com, sign up there to get the notifications. Boston Casting is also looking for, more specifically right now, a Black woman 30 to 50 years old with news anchor or radio host experience. This is for a television series, and it shoots in October. It pays very well. So if that sounds like you or someone you know, please submit to bostoncasting5@gmail.com and include a headshot, resume, contact information, and where you are based. And in the subject line, write news radio / your name.
And this is a big one. Boston Casting, they're looking to fill a principal role in a TV series. They're looking for a man who is 50 to 60 years old with acting experience. This person needs to be around 5'8", 5'9", around 150, 160 pounds, Caucasian male. This shoots on October 4th through the 18th for this paid gig. So if you meet that description, submit your contact information, a photo of the front and back of your head, and resume and bio to Boston Casting Submit 5, number 5, at gmail.com.
Awesome. Last but not least, James, the really big project that is filming right now is the Madam Web movie, which is the latest Sony adventure into the Spider-Verse, and it is filming right here in Massachusetts. And they are handling background actors. They are looking for background actors right now. That is Kendall Cooper Casting that is handling that work right now. So if you would like to be a part of the Madam Web movie and swing around with whatever is going on over there, because it's all very secretive and hush-hush, you are going to want to get onto KendallCooperCasting.com and sign up there.
All right, perfect. Well, I think those are all the casting calls that I have. Remember, if you meet these descriptions, go ahead, fill out the information, send it in. If you know someone who looks, sounds, acts like anything that they're looking for, send them a link to this episode and get them on the big or the small screen and get them discovered.
That's right, because that's what good friends do. Good friends listen to the Hub on Hollywood.
That's right. Yeah, thanks for sticking around.
Thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you guys next week. Best of luck.
Bye.